Hey, are we live? Yeah, we're live. Let me turn on speech chat because I don't feel like reading today. There we go. Okay, we are live in the studio. What's going on, everyone? I'm Nepal V. Welcome back to my stream. If you're new to my channel, very nice to meet you. I appreciate you being here. So in this video, well, I'm gonna do two things. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna react to the news. So we're just gonna chill and watch some news. Kind of behind on the news, which I know is weird, but it is a thing. I've been obsessed with politics and the news. I know that shouldn't be shocking because my last couple of videos are all political. Um, so yeah, and you know, I'm still working on my game, Bubble Tank Frenzy, so we're definitely gonna be playing that in the background in windowed mode, of course. I turned the beach level into a survivor level, so I'll show you what that means in just a sec. Anyhow, let me get a few things knocked out of the park. Not going to be playing full screen. It's a thing we're not going to be doing. Instead, what we're going to be doing is trying to figure out the best way to place this. I don't necessarily want this full screen, so you know what? Because I do want to watch this. Yeah, I don't want this open. This doesn't need to be open. Wait, why is this sizing too? There we go. I think this is good. Yeah, this is ideal. Okay, let's begin.
Had a MAGA. So as we discussed on the show, y'all, we had a MAGA terror attack, right-wing terrorism, inflicted on Minnesota the other day. You
So
had this guy.
that's what it was. Was it actually that? Seriously? That's how. Okay, I'm pretty. Yeah, I don't. I heard about it, but I don't know that much about it.
Who listened to InfoWars, was an anti-abortion extremist, has ties to the shady Eric Prince Blackwater Group, which is a Christian mercenary army that was used in Iraq.
Yeah,
This guy knocked on the door of a Democratic politician's house, shot her and her husband. Unfortunately, we've had deaths as a result of this. Also tried to murder another Democratic politician. That one, I believe, survived after surgery. But he wore a Kevlar vest, showed up dressed like a police officer, had a police-looking vehicle, and murdered these people in cold blood, wearing a latex mask, very horror
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, honestly.
movie-esque stuff. And again, I want to be clear here. This person was a Trump supporter. This person was a far-right extremist. This person committed an act of terrorism in this country. The response from the right was to, and you could go watch my segment on this the other day, their response was to gaslight, to lie relentlessly, to pretend like, no, this was actually a Democrat. And their argument that they used is because Tim Walz appointed this person to some board, some stupid business board that doesn't mean anything, never even met the person, but you got to do some bipartisan appointments, so we've appointed this person there. They tried to use that to say, oh, this is definitely a Democrat. Not a Democrat, not even close. Literally all the evidence says the opposite. His best friend and roommate said he loved Trump, he watched InfoWars, super right-wing, super anti-abortion. He had a list of people to kill, 70 people on the list, every single one of them Democrats. So, if you are the president of the United States and somebody's out there killing in your name, murdering in your name, doing terrorism in your name.
Listen, I'm not the biggest fan of abortion. To make sure the stream's still going. Okay, I'm not the biggest fan of abortion. I do support early abortion, like first trimester. Anywhere before the nervous system, starts to develop, that's where I am. But as far as like late term abortion, I oppose that. Like I don't support like any. Yeah, I don't know.
That would be a time for you to come out and make a forceful statement and denounce political violence and say this is unacceptable and we don't do that in this country. And just the standard things any rational, reasonable, empathetic human being and president would say. Well, Trump, of course, didn't do that. There was some vague statement released by the White House, which I'm sure Trump didn't even write about, that he's not the one that wrote it. And then he was on the plane the other day and he was asked, hey, are you going to call Tim Walz, the Democratic governor of Minnesota? Because remember, Tim Walz, this was Tim Walz's friend. Tim Walz worked with this person all the time to get their agenda through. Tim Walz was literally on the terrorist kill list of this guy. Here's what Trump's reaction is. Ready?
Horrific details that came out today about the suspect who's been charged there. Have you called the governor yet or been able to speak to any of them?
That is wild. That is seriously wild. Like, that fact alone is just mind-blowingly wild. The terror watch list? What the actual F, dude? Well, I mean, and he was on a hit list. Like, that's crazy.
He appointed this guy to a position.
It doesn't matter.
The governor of Minnesota is so whacked out. I'm not calling him. Why would I call him? I could call him, say, hi, how you doing? The guy doesn't have
We got our lawnmower back, so it's making a bunch of noise.
I could be nice and call him, but why waste time?
Didn't realize it was today.
This man is disgustingly evil. And let's be honest.
Okay, so Trump is basically... whenever a disaster occurs, he always does this, right? He always uses that to, further divide the country and stuff. And I'm not really a fan of this. I don't know why. He always uses it as an opportunity to attack his enemies, and in this case, his enemies are the Democrats. I mean, there's a time and place for it, but this is not the time and place for that. So, yeah.
Be honest, that reaction makes clear. I really don't. If you want to kill for MAGA, you want to kill for me, you want to go after the Democrats, the liberals, the leftists, you want to wreak havoc on this country and go after those people, go ahead. Go ahead. He's not going to denounce it. He's not going to talk about it. He's not going to call those affected. He's not going to try to unite the country. He's not going to try to unify anybody. He's going to go out there and then viciously smear Tim Walz in a vile fashion.
Yeah, some of the attacks against Tim Walz are really stupid. They call him Tampon Tim. What has he done that warrants that nickname? Seriously. Now, if you want to go after him on legit policies like lockdowns, I'm down for that. I think every Democrat is guilty of lockdowns. That should be a reason to vote them out of office. But they're still human beings. You don't commit acts of terror, acts of violence. That's not okay. I mean, this is gonna get a lot of backlash, but I'll say it anyway. I was not a fan of the Luigi Mangione, everyone on the left, and I guess some people on the right making this guy a hero. I was not a fan of that. Because that essentially legalizing murder. And, if he doesn't get first-degree charges, I don't know. He should get first-degree murder charges. Because what he did was he killed, I think his name was Brian Thompson, in cold blood. So I'm not a fan of that. I don't like Luigi Mangione. He's a murderer. He committed a crime. He should go to jail. Yes, the healthcare system in the United States is not functional. I get that. It makes sense. But that's no excuse to murder a CEO. And by the way, what reforms have happened? Nothing has happened. Like, what came out of this murder? Nothing.
Casually saying, why would I waste my time? Why would I call? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because he was on a fucking kill list of a guy who was a big MAGA supporter. But you like it, don't you? What do you expect from the guy who pardoned 1,600 January 6ers, including over 400 that were violent criminals?
And that's the other thing about Trump, right? He's nice to whoever's nice to him. If you give him warm treatment, he'll return the favor. Like, he's loyal to those who are loyal to him. That trait isn't always good, guys. I mean, I guess it's only acceptable if it's Trump, right? But, I don't know, it shouldn't be I'm not sure. Like, that's just my observation of Trump. Like, Trump doesn't really have a core ideology. He just goes where the wind is. Alright?
Over 100 assaulted officers. Some of them went on to kill again. Drunk driving. Killed somebody. Some of them have fredophilia convictions that they're now saying Trump's pardon gets them off from that too. Don't ever fucking talk about law and order ever again, ever. Never mind the fact that he's a fucking criminal, charged with 91 crimes, convicted in the state of New York, tried to overturn the 2020 election with the fake elector slate. This is what happens, y'all. There's no brakes on the car. This is what y'all need to understand. There's no brakes on the car. There are no guardrails anymore. In the first term, there were some reasonable, sane people around him who would try to temper his worst instincts.
Yeah, I mean, the right might disagree, but Trump definitely had better people in 2021. Essentially, to hem him in. Like, Kyle's 100% correct here. I don't disagree with this take, actually. Like, just from an observation point, I mean, empirical evidence suggests that what Kyle is saying is true.
No, they would say, oh, sorry, sir, not a good idea to shoot protesters in the leg. Sorry, sir, not a good idea to deploy the U.S. military against the people of the United States, invading your own country.
Yeah, that's the thing that happened. He deployed the Marines on U.S. streets. I don't approve of that. Like, that... There's no words.
Not a good idea, sir. Don't do this, sir. Don't do that, sir. Now, everybody, MAGA's based. Trigger the libs, bro. Go after him, bro. And you think fucking Pete Hegseth is going to reel this guy in? Drunk off his ass on gin?
I put the collider way too far.
You think that guy's going to fucking reel him in?
Yeah, no, he's not. Let me just make sure I'm still live on YouTube. So, Trump actually picked people who are crazy, if not as crazy as he is. Okay? It's insane. Actually, I like this setup better. I lost, but that's okay.
Who's gonna is Kristi Noem gonna reel him in after
Nope.
her 17th lip filler surgery?
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna reel him in.
That's funny.
This is what he's gonna do. And
I do have audio.
By the way, there wasn't even much talk about this. Here
Nope.
he is, smearing Tim Walz after Tim Walz was on a literal murder list from a MAGA terrorist. Doesn't give a fuck about the Democrats who were killed. In fact, probably low-key supports it. Nobody talked about this. This wasn't an outrage. This wasn't a scandal. Now, I understand there's other things going on that are, colossal, like deploying the military against the people of the United States and war with Iran and all the chaos, the big...
Oh, yeah. I did cover this previously in my video. I don't know if I'm going to make a dedicated video on it. We'll see.
Beautiful bill, etc. But this is how much this man has thoroughly fucking broken this country. The fabric of this country is fucked. Look, I'm not one of those people, what about the kids? What about the children? But do you want kids being raised in a country where this is the reaction of the president after somebody murders in his name? does a terror attack. What message are we... The message that we're sending to the next generation is be an asshole, be incredibly cruel, be incredibly petty, be incredibly vindictive, do everything based off your gut instinct, even if it's a horrible, vicious instinct. All the old school virtues and values of like, be a good person, be empathetic, be altruistic, try to care about equality, try to care about justice. All these basic liberal values are just out the fucking window. Now it's like, be the worst person you could ever be, ever. This is unacceptable.
Maybe the internet was a mistake. What do you guys think? Like, ever since social media, like, everyone has been claiming, hey, social media is gonna connect people. Was that actually true, though? Like, did it make the world a better place? I think not.
Acceptable. I'm gonna say this now for shit, the 100th time. This man has to be...
I don't have any actual solutions to fix that problem, because, let's be real, we're already, like, that ship has already sailed, as far as any solutions go. That's the worst part.
Impeached and removed from office. And I don't care which argument you use. You want to go after the emoluments clause and the corruption? Be my guest. You want to go after him for the illegal war on Iran and the illegal bombing of Yemen? Be my guest. There's about 17 different arguments you can use to go after this guy and impeach him. How about...
I'm so paranoid. Hold on. Doesn't matter.
Letting the world's richest robber baron loot the treasury and illegally cut programs, agencies...
Elon has been out of
his bottom line.
Office.
There's a million arguments, but you gotta do it. You gotta fucking do it.
Apparently there was a truce.
This man is the destruction of the United States of America. It's not even fucking close. And I don't want to hear a goddamn word about anybody, from anybody, who at this late date, so, oh, I kind of like him. Fuck you. Fuck you. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now.
Elon has been out of office.
I know you want to.
Like, I don't...
So there's this guy running for New York City mayor. He's a progressive. His name is Brad Lander. And him and Zoran Mamdani just cross-endorsed each other, so they have ranked choice voting in New York. So you have Brad Lander endorsing Zoran for number 2, Zoran endorsing Brad Lander for number 2.
Oh, yeah.
They released a commercial about that. And that's
going to make a video on that.
Lander has about 9% support. Mamdani has about 30%, or maybe a little more than that, depending on which poll you look at in the first round. And so Brad Lander went to immigration court the other day. And by the way, he's also the comptroller of New York City. And so he goes there, and the reason he's going there is because he's seen all the reports of you have these masked ICE agent Gestapo thugs who are rounding up innocent people, even if the judge dismisses the case of the immigrant in question. And so they snatch him from right out of the courtroom. So Brad Lander went there to try to protect some of these immigrants from the ICE Gestapo thugs. And then you're not going to be surprised to learn the thugs did some thugs.
Okay. I thought it was Padilla. There was another guy who was dragged out of the courtroom for, I guess, aggressively confronting Kristi Noem. You guys hear about that? Yeah, I guess that was a thing that happened.
Thuggish shit. So here we go. This is from the Brad Lander Twitter account here. Hi, this is Meg Barnett, Brad's wife. While escorting a defendant out of immigration court at 26 Federal Plaza, Brad was taken by masked agents and detained by ICE. This is still developing, and our team is monitoring the situation closely. So, understand, guys, all Brad did here was say, do you have a judicial warrant for what you're doing, for grabbing this guy, for arresting this guy? That's it. Do you have a judicial warrant? This is a New York City politician. He's running for mayor. He's the current comptroller. Do you have a judicial warrant? And this was the reaction of the Gestapo ICE thugs.
I like how he keeps calling them the Gestapo. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. I don't know what the truth is. We'll see.
Do you have a judicial warrant? Do you have a judicial warrant? Can I see the judicial warrant? Can I see the warrant? I will let go when you show me the judicial warrant. Where is it? Where is the warrant?
Yo, what is this?
You don't have authority to arrest U.S. citizens. Sir, you don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. You don't have to. I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway. I asked to see the judicial warrant.
What's so crazy about this is he's literally saying everything right. He's saying, do you have a judicial warrant, which they need to make the arrest that they're making? Then when they start to arrest him, he's an American citizen. He's like, you don't have the authority to arrest American citizens. Then they're like, stop resisting. He's like, I'm not fucking resisting. Every step of they're lying. They are lying, gaslighting Gestapo thugs. And by the way, before they arrested him, apparently 2 ICE agents looked at each other and said, do you want to arrest the comptroller? So they knew exactly who he was before they did this. Every single one of them should be fired. Every single one of them should be brought up on criminal charges for what they're doing here. This is wildly illegal, and everybody knows it.
Right here in the hallway, I asked to see the judicial warrant. By asking for a judicial warrant, you don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens asking for.
Yo, this is nuts. I don't think this happened in Trump 1.0, did it?
Stay back, please. Stay back, please. Stay back. Stay back. No, ma'am, for your own safety. For your own safety.
Look at the... Did you see that? Masked agent. Look at this guy. Are you fucking kidding me? By the way, a lot of them are also wearing plain clothes. They don't even have anything that identifies that they're in ICE on them. This guy happens to be wearing the vest, but he's covering his fucking face. Why is he covering his face? I ask you that question seriously. Because they know what they're doing is illegal. They know what they're doing is illegal. They keep doing illegal shit. We'll have a story for you on this tomorrow, by the way.
I am looking forward to seeing it. Why is my ear so itchy? Oh man, that's nuts.
That now the ICE quota was kicked up to 3,000 arrests per day. So they're going after all non-criminals to get to 3,000 a day. The only thing that matters is the fucking number. This is how you get the nightmare scenarios. This is
Yo, what's up, Die Baderman? How are you doing?
Die Baderman said, you back to streaming news and stuff.
Something like that, if I don't get copyrighted. I don't think I will. So this is Secular Talk, Kyle Kolinsky. I've been following him for a while, and honestly, I kind of like some of his coverage. I do think he is a bit hyperbolic when he covers Trump.
Die Baderman said, was about to say this is copyright territory.
How can you tell? Actually, wait, is there a way you can actually tell? Or maybe not, right? Maybe it is, I guess. Actually, you know what? Maybe it is. I'll play it safe. Yeah. I think I'm just gonna, like, not play
Die Baderman said, sure YT will tell you. Die Baderman said, I think on OBS.
Where does it say it on here? I'm using Raystream too. So I don't think it'll tell me that necessarily. There's a delay. There's like a 1 second delay. You know what? I'm just gonna play it safe.
This is how you get the story that we already covered, where a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 6-year-old.
Okay, this guy's like literally yelling into the mic.
American citizen were deported, and the 4-year-old had cancer and was deported without medication. 288 people being sent to El Salvador to a concentration camp. One of them had a mom and dad tattoo, and they said, that's a gang tattoo.
You will see it warn you.
This is what we're talking about. One of them had a tattoo, which was an autism awareness tattoo for his 15-year-old brother who he helped take care of. They said that was a gang tattoo, and they sent him to a concentration camp with no fucking due process. What are we talking about here? Doing mass raids of farms where farm workers are doing their fucking job? Home Depots? People, day laborers trying to find work and take care of their family? What are you doing? no criminal records for these people whatsoever, done nothing wrong, and this is their reaction, and now they're arresting people who do the right thing and stand up and say, where's your warrant, bitch?
For your own safety.
On Twitch, they're a bit more lenient.
I can't believe you're arresting. Where are you taking him?
So I think I'm just gonna plug my.
Since you have no authority to arrest U.S. citizens, where are you taking me? And with what authority?
I think there is too. Why are you arresting?
And with what authority?
Debaterman said, guys like this yell because they have no points or don't want to have you pause and think, hey, wait a minute.
Oh, he assaulted an ICE agent. The comptroller of New York, currently running for mayor of the city, assaulted an ICE agent.
Wait a sec. That's actually interesting. It's actually an interesting point because, and let me just make sure my stream's not taken down. It's not. I'm just gonna play the audio, honestly. So, what he's talking about specifically is New York City mayoral candidate and a comptroller got arrested
Nightbot
by ICE.
said, don't forget to like, subscribe if you enjoy the stream.
I want to know, like, what exactly did the comptroller do to get arrested? Like, what exactly was the rationale of arresting a U.S. citizen? Like, from what I understand, he was just asking questions. Like, do you guys have a warrant? That's what this specific video is about.
This government is rogue. It's out of control. It's criminal. Everybody needs to be impeached. Everybody needs to be criminally charged. This is fucking unacceptable. This is unacceptable. And as you all know, you think the targets are going to stop where they stopped? Of course not. This is an American city. This is an American politician in New York City, and he's being arrested. U.S. citizen. They're not going to stop at anything, bro. Just like they're arresting pro-Palestine protesters, right? Mahmoud Khalil, Rumeysa Ozturk wrote an op-ed critical of Israel, and they lock you up indefinitely for it.
Yeah, I mean, on the grounds of free speech, they shouldn't have been arrested. Like, Mahmoud Khalil should be released immediately. Is that a controversial take? I mean, there's no evidence he's supporting Hamas. If there is evidence of him supporting Hamas, then...
Debaterman said, this is one of those give it 2 days I don't subscribe to the I must have an opinion on day one.
So, you wait for more news to kick in. Okay, I guess that's fair, but... Hey, Debaterman, I got a question for you. Have you ever played Dead Zone Rogue? Because I actually want to...
Debaterman said, my understanding is he was arrested for interfering in an arrest, and then further the charge was that he assaulted the ICE agent. Debaterman said, that's all I know about the charges on the controller.
I guess we gotta wait and see. I don't know. Secular Talk was just talking about it. And obviously he has his perspective. Which, I guess we just gotta wait for the facts. So I'm not sure. I mean, if he was assaulting an ICE officer, I guess that warrants an arrest, maybe. Who knows? You don't assault police officers. Okay, let's finish this video, because,
For it. This is what we're talking about. Rule of law has fallen apart in this country. By the way, when you start arresting people from immigration court, the message you're sending is, don't come to your immigration hearings. Because if you do, we're going to arrest you anyway.
Yeah, what's your take on
is
that?
Breaking down, y'all.
Debaterman
it is breaking down.
Said.
So I'm sure.
Right, like I said, he is yelling because he doesn't know enough, but it's his job to make you feel like he knows, aka grifting.
Because they cross-endorse each other and it's ranked choice voting. This is wild. You have the right now are pretending like, oh, the Democrats are all trying to get arrested by ICE. Oh, well then maybe don't fall into their dastardly trap and fucking arrest them illegally. I love that argument. It's like all the ICE agents would have to do is not arrest them, and then their dastardly plan is fully.
I guess that. I mean, okay, but like the progressives tend to be very like pro-immigration, and I guess like depending on the circumstances, they're even condoning the rioting, which I'm not really a fan of. So I guess there is. I don't know. I think sending the Marines to LA is too extreme. But as far as like getting Trump to take over the National Guard, I don't think that's that extreme. I think that was justified.
Debaterman said. One of my favorite studies is the undocumented migrants commit less crimes than legal migrants and natives.
But is that true though? Like, is that study
said,
actually warranted in fact?
Don't forget to like, subscribe if you enjoy the stream. Debaterman.
Or is that like
said,
something they just say as
it's
a
why
cop-out?
I agree with the line, there are lies, damn lies, and statistics.
Okay, so that's like a cop-out. So they bring that up as a cop-out. That's interesting. But anecdotally, like, there are...
Debaterman said. The fact that you asked that question is what is the point of that statistic?
What is the point of that statistic? I mean, I guess to minimize, to get people to sympathize with undocumented immigrants. But, I don't know.
Debaterman said. For you to ask, is that true, instead of realizing the obvious?
It's not true, is it? Yeah, I don't think it's true. Where was... Okay, like, is that like one study, or is it like multiple studies? Keep running into the invisible wall.
Malco Dev said. Oh lol, what's going on with your stream?
Oh, I'm just like reacting to the news. A lot of stuff
Malco
happening.
Dev said. Why is the window not fitting?
Yeah, why is
Debaterman
the window... Oh,
said. Weird. LOL, it could be 1 million studies. Debaterman said. There is the obvious situation to consider.
What's the situation? Okay, let's try this. Oh, I didn't even realize it was like that. Goddamn. Yeah, I don't want to get copyrighted, so I'm just gonna minimize that. How's this? Is that better? So you know what? Let's do this. You say obvious situation. What's obvious?
Malco Dev said. That's better.
Okay, yeah, I can see it on my other screen.
Debaterman said. Think about it. Die Baderman. Said. It's in your face.
They crossed the border, that thing, and they committed a crime. That's the answer. That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, I guess that's true. I mean, to be fair, I'm not like 100% pro-immigration. I think there should be restrictions. It should be merit-based. Because resources are, scarce. I remember watching a tech lead video on, his take on the 2020 election and who he voted for. It's unlisted now, so I can't exactly say, like...
Nightbot. Said. Don't forget to like subscribe if you enjoy the stream. Die Baderman. Said. Well, keep with the words not feelings, they say crimes, which means they are talking about statutes, which is either true or not true.
I always mess that up, dude. Statutes. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't exactly comment on whether the studies are accurate or not, but, yeah.
Die Baderman. Said. To put it plainly, you can't say undocumented migrants commit less crimes if we ignore that 100 of the had to commit a crime to be undocumented migrants, lol.
Well, I mean, they did commit a crime crossing the border illegally.
Die Baderman. Said. That's called shifting the field goal.
To be fair, though, I think what they're talking about is violent crime. But yeah, I mean, as far as, like, crime in general, well, they are 100% committing a crime, legally speaking, by crossing the border illegally. But I think what...
Die Baderman. Said. Here we go.
Here we go where? What do you mean? I mean, I don't know what they're referring, because technically that entire study is invalid, because if they're talking about crimes in general, yeah, they are committing crimes by illegally, by being undocumented.
Die Baderman. Said. This is what I mean, you now go into nuance, because the fact that they are undocumented means we do not know exactly how to track violent crime by virtue of them being undocumented.
Alright.
Die Baderman said, all we can do is estimate. Die Baderman said, and that's where the lies, damn lies, and statistics kick in.
I mean, for 4 years, the previous administration let this problem fester. And now we're sort of cleaning up the mess, is the way I see it.
Die Baderman said, it's one of the easiest and laziest tools in argumentation, the god of the gaps argument. Nicked said, y'all sound like you need a bit more cat meme energy in your life.
What? Cat meme energy?
Die Baderman said, we don't know, so we will fill our ignorance with what feels good and makes us feel smarter XD.
Yeah, that's... Oh, that's actually pretty cool.
Nightbot said, don't forget to like, subscribe if you enjoy the stream.
Actually, you know what would be interesting? Let's react to a Tim Pool segment. Who's this?
Die Baderman said, it feels good to say we are so ambivalent and embrace nuance so well when really it's just soft bigotry. Die Baderman said, also subnicked. Nicked said, hand pink waving.
Oh, Rand Paul. I made a video about Rand Paul. I want to watch this.
We have the story from Axios. Pro-Israeli hackers claim cyber attack on Iranian bank. Reportedly, they have shut the bank down, and this predatory Sparrow Israeli hacking group claims to have stolen upwards of $90 million in crypto from from an exchange.
Yikes.
They say predatory Sparrow, an Israeli hacking group, said today that is behind a series of cyber attacks against Iran's bank SEPA. The group, which publicly goes by the Farsi translation Ganjeshki Darande, added that it's also deleted the state-owned banking system's data. This is what happens to institutions dedicated to maintaining the dictator's terrorist fantasies. Axios could not immediately verify these claims. Now, as the war is heating up, we have this from the Jerusalem Post.
Israel and Iran are at war. That's what this is all about.
In my opinion, statements yet, where they actually made the argument. Check this out. They say Trump needs to take decisive action against Iran.
No, he doesn't.
Mr. U.S. President Trump, it's time to match words with decisive action, in which they say, embrace regime change as policy. And in their last point...
Wait, who says this? Let's see. Project Overall Military Surge U.S. Strikes Groups. Do you think Trump's actually going to do any of that? I hope it doesn't come down to it, but I don't know.
Call for the partition of Iran. This will fail, is psychotic, and will result in militaristic conflicts, insurgency, and chaos in the region for 100 years.
What war?
We are talking about...
Said. What?
So, Israel and Iran are fighting.
Said.
And...
I'm out of the loop again.
Benjamin Netanyahu wants the United States involved. He wants the U.S. to topple Iran's regime. And I disagree. I don't think we should be involved. It's not our fight. Hold on.
Partitioning 92 million people. 90. It depends on your estimate. It could be upward. Some Wikipedia says 85. Some estimates have it higher than that, between 90 and 92. This is a degree of insanity that we have not seen in a very long time. The fear, of course, is Donald Trump is going to be called to intervene.
That's not what Netanyahu said, but a lot of people have said that's what he said.
And he didn't.
What did he say?
He later then came out and said they were installing flagpoles. Nobody thinks that was actually going to be the message. They're also reporting open source intel, predatory spare, as I mentioned. I'm sorry, it's not 90 million. They're claiming...
Actually, I heard from somewhere else, not really a pro-Israel source, but Iran is building a nuclear weapon, and they're going to use it on Tel Aviv. But wait, didn't Israel attack first, though? Didn't... Okay, like... Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know what Netanyahu said. Maybe I'm getting my news wrong. I will stand corrected.
$1.8 billion in crypto was
Die Baderman said. In his last interview this morning he made it clear cause he was pressed on that point he wants the US to continue defending them but needs US to drop out bunker buster on a specific target. Nightbot
Specific
said,
target.
Don't forget to like subscribe if you enjoy the stream.
Specific target. I bet that would be Tehran. Tehran, right?
To just about 100 million. Stealing $1.7 billion in crypto.
Said.
They were using this crypto to bypass sanctions. Now, there are deep concerns about what happens if the U.S. is to get involved, and it's looking like that may be the case. So Trump has said that he doesn't want to be involved in a long-term war. He just wants
it's a
to make
nuclear
sure
bomb development
Iran
facility that is too deep for them to hit.
Now, I'm going to be pulling in Senator Rand Paul to talk about this, as well as the big, beautiful bill in immigration enforcement.
Is Iran actually developing nukes?
Surrounding the senator himself.
Nuclear
so
bombs.
I believe we've got this coming up. Senator
I
Rand
thought
Paul,
they were just using...
I can.
Said.
Thank you for
we
joining
have
me.
AB2 Spirit which can drop a bunker buster powerful enough to reach 1/4 of a mil underground.
Particularly, I know that you've maintained your principles on foreign intervention
B2
in war.
Spirit
Just because it's big in
bunker
the news, I'm
buster.
curious, what your position is on U.S. involvement in Iran.
I don't doubt
do
it.
Do you think we will, the United States, intervene militaristically in the war?
I fervently hope that we will not. I don't think it's a good
idea.
Yeah,
same here.
And I say that even if the president should decide to do it, he would have to come to the Congress in advance and ask for a declaration of war. The Constitution is very clear on this. Madison was very clear. Madison wrote that the executive branch is the branch most prone to war. Therefore, we gave this power to the legislative branch. And this isn't a surprise attack. This wouldn't be a sneak attack. This would be something everybody...
Okay, so this whole precedent started with George W. Bush.
Die Baderman said. But it's this thing in the news to confuse the subject. Die Baderman said. No, it did not. Nicked said. I'm confused without the news. I say mission failed.
No, it did not. You mean Iran and nuclear weapons? Wait, what are we talking about? I'm kind of confused. What was that in reference to? I know there's like a delay. Alright, you know what? I'm kind of bored.
Die Baderman said, Clinton sent missiles into Sudan. WO congressional approval. Ford sent weapons to Indonesia without congressional approval. Die Baderman said, etc. etc. Die Baderman said, it goes back long before. Die Baderman said, want to play a game, bro? Die Baderman said, we can chat about this.
Yeah, let's do it. I have a question. Actually, I asked you earlier, but
Die Baderman said, I finish work for today early. Well, I started at 4 a.m.
Yeah, let's let me call you on Discord. All right, y'all, that's the stream. I'm not gonna stream it though. I'll stop the stream here. Join my Discord. The link is in my bio. All right, peace out.